Laughter. Laughter, laughter, laughter. Prejudice. Bigotry. Yeah. Laughter again, but the sign of children's laughter. Babies' laughter. Yeah. Noise I hate. Whinging and whining by people who have no intention of changing things. For me personally, or for the world? For me personally, oh gosh, I'd like people to cry a lot. But yeah, I'd like people. I'd like to know there were enough people around who really understood me as a whole human being to actually give me a good send-off that was actually about me, not just some bloke in a skirt standing up and reading out a list of things which didn't really relate to me, and getting my name wrong. So yeah, I'd just like to be still a few people in my life who really got me, and were able to mark who I was and who I am. Yeah. I think differently. Whatever the word to describe that is, I think differently. Think outside the box. I'm kind and caring and compassionate. I'm self-righteous and stubborn. And I'm committed. Okay, my strengths are. I'm definitely a creative thinker. I refuse to accept that there isn't a solution to the problems that we have in the world, and there's always different ways of approaching them. So, and I think I can be very creative in the way that I approach the world and approach problems. Definitely a strategic thinker, so I can see the bigger picture, see how things fit together, and I'm very open to finding the best in people. So I have a kind of philosophy that none of us is as smart as all of us. I don't believe in trying to find a single way of addressing a problem. I think that many different people coming from many different angles is the best way to address a problem. So I'm always interested to find out what's the what's the good in the person. And if someone starts bad mouthing someone, my kind of tendency is to then want to find out what's good about that person first. I would like to have spent a lot more time living with my daughter. As a dad, I've as a separated dad, I'm really blessed compared to other fathers. But it's gone. Her child is gone, and it's never coming back. And I would love to have spent more time with her, living in my home, being in her life, all of that. So of all the things, that's the first thing that really comes to mind. Yeah. I'm what some people call qualified by experience. I know it's really simple, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of something clever, but I just want to be remembered as someone who made a difference for men and boys in the world, and help to change the way that the world thinks about men and boys. This is a big issue for me. It's like helping an individual man get over an individual issue is really important, but at the collective level, I think we need to really radically change the way the world relates to men and boys. If it could say on my gravestone, here lies Glen Poole, he radically changed the way the world relates to men and boys, job done. just relocated with my partner to Australia, so I've been thinking about what are we going to do in the next 10 years in Australia. Short term, next year we're going to be, as in the next 12 months, we're going to be travelling around the country. So to go to every state and every territory, which is, on a personal level, it's going to be a fantastic journey of exploration together. And I'm working on a project called Stop Male Suicide. So I'm really looking at what do we need to do to have a massive impact on the high rate of suicide. In Australia, it's 5 men a day. In the UK, it's 13 men a day. It's a global problem, but I'm going to be focused on male suicide prevention in Australia, running a seminar in every state and territory in the country, and trying to bring together some of the people already working in the field and passionate about trying to prevent male suicide and bring the figures down. So it's going to be a real learning experience and great opportunity to get face to face and meet a lot of those people and find out what do they know and what do they think needs to happen to tackle that problem. So that's kind of short term. Long term, several things. One of the key things for me is I want to see men's issues studied at universities around the world in a way that really makes a difference. I think some of the academic approaches to studying men and masculinity at the moment are very kind of negative. They're mostly called critical men's studies. That's kind of the starting point. They tend to view men and masculinity as a problem, and I'd like to see a lot more kind of compassionate and empowering approaches to studying and understanding men evolving and emerging, and be a part of creating that. So that's a long-term thing, and those things are really important. It sounds kind of like theoretical and abstract, but if you want to influence the way the world approaches helping men and boys, then you need the kind of academic framework in place to be able to influence policies at the level of the United Nations or across Europe or at a government level in Australia or New Zealand or wherever it is in the world. So that's kind of like a big long-term ambition. And then sort of in between that, I'd really like to find a way, like something like Movember, to generate more funding going into a broad range of men's issues at a grassroots level. I think Movember's fantastic. I think its focus is too narrow. Its focus is perfect for Movember, but I'd like to see a much broader focus of funding going into projects that try and address the many issues that men and boys face. We need to get some money into it. So I don't know what that looks like yet, but I would love to leave behind some kind of fund-generating initiative that can continue to make a difference for men and boys for years to come. Happy. I'd like to die happy. Having a really healthy body and a healthy mind, I've probably had to work harder on the healthy mind than I have on the body. But the older I get, the more I really appreciate how just having, this bag to get around with in a healthy way on a daily basis, to have a mind that works for me and a body that works for me, which enables me to do whatever I want to do still, that is what I'm most grateful for. I would I would love to fly. I'm not joking. It would just be great, wouldn't it? But on a much more practical level, women have this thing called women don't. The women's movement has this wonderful play by Eve Ensler called The Vagina Monologues, which is performed all over the world, and loads of different brilliant actors have been part of it. Hundreds of thousands of people probably now have been to see it, and it's raised millions of pounds, which sort of helps women's projects. I would love to create some kind of... I had an idea once called Talking Bollocks, which would be the male version of Vagina Monologues. I would love to create some kind of performance like that was easy to replicate, all around the world, which was uplifting and left people feeling transformed and changed their minds about how they felt about being a man or how they felt about the men in their lives, and raised shed loads of money for men's projects all over the globe. So I'd love to create that. If I couldn't fail, I'd do it tomorrow. Get yourself a problem worthy of your life. In other words, if your problem is, oh, I can't get the right colour shirt to match these shoes, or like, you know, that person on the telly is really annoying me, or the weather's really bad, is your life really worthy? Is your life so small that that's the kind of problem you want to focus on? Get yourself a problem that's worthy of your life. That just stuck in my head when the guy said it, and I thought, okay. So how about the problem of how do we make the world work for 3.5 billion men and boys? Haven't fixed it yet, but I tell you what, it makes my life worth getting out of bed every morning, and it makes the little problems just disappear. Wow. Okay, so just before my daughter was born in 1997. Don't worry, because it's going to be tough, but don't worry, because it'll be the best thing that you ever did. Don't worry, because it's going to be hard. Oh. Whatever you make it mean. Every man should know about the opposite sex. We're not opposite, we're all humans, right? We have differences, but we also have many similarities. And that's it. How should every man... listen, I know this is a cliche, but for me, it's always like better to regret something that you did do rather than regret something that you didn't do. So if there's anything to learn from regret, try it and fail. Try it and fail. If you want to do something, try it and fail. Don't spend your life wishing that you had done something. Yeah. The best decision I ever made was one of two. So the best decision I ever made was to become a dad, and the best decision I ever made was to go down to the Earth and Stars pub in Brighton, England on the 31st of July 2007, where I met my partner. I think one of the worst decisions I ever made was not to go to university as a teenager. Always. Always. Good grief. The world is not working in so many different ways. There's so many different aspects of life that are not working. Everyone needs to be taking a stand. I don't vote, right? I don't vote. One of the reasons I don't vote is because I think the way we tend to vote in the UK, where I'm from, is that we use our tick on the box as a way of buying ourselves 5 years of not taking responsibility. We tick the box for someone else to be in power and then spend 5 years going, What are you going to do about it, mate? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Rather than asking ourselves, what am I going to do about it? So I don't vote. Favourite childhood memory? Oh, man. I lived kind of semi-rural, so just a blend of hours and hours of playing outside with grass and sun, and that's it. Love, man. Just such a loving woman. And how to cook as well. Yeah, he was a loving guy too. But also having care for and responsibility for the society that you grow up in, and respect for institutions, but also a willingness to challenge the institutions and things that aren't working as well and speak up. Yeah. About 4 years ago, all this research I'd done on all the areas where men and boys show up as unequal in society, and particularly in the UK where I was based at the time, I wrote a really simple but very deeply researched book called Equality for Men, which goes through all those different areas where men and boys are unequal in life, and tries to just tell a story of how can we kind of ask the question, how can we address these issues at the same time as addressing women and girls' issues? It's like, how can we do this in a way? Because one thing that tends to happen is that the moment you step forward and say, I'm advocating for men and boys, I care about men and boys, someone will say, well, what about women? Or do you not like women then? Or are you anti-women then? Which is like, no. It's like, if I said, I care about cats, would you say, do you not like dogs? You can like cats and you can like dogs, but you can do more work for cats than dogs, right? I love men, I love women, I love men, I love girls, I love boys. I'm just focused on how do we improve life for men and boys. Does not, in addition to, not in opposition to women and girls. So the whole book, Equality for Men, it attempts to make a really simple case for how we can focus on and address the issues that men and boys face, in addition to the issues that women and girls face.
What was the feeling?
Um, and with that and a lot of the research I did, it was almost like part of me was quite angry that it was so hard to find this information, that no one was talking about it. Well, obviously some people were, but it wasn't common knowledge. So that's what was, it kind of made sense, right? It kind of made sense that people who are really struggling in life have got a difficult past. But sometimes you look at the data and you go, oh my God, that's huge. B, I go, I'm so bloody angry that I've had to go digging around for that, and it's not sort of like out there in common knowledge. And C, I become really aware of the lack of compassion we have for men in particular. And in writing the book and joining together all these different issues that men and boys have, I was trying to see if there was a common theme that joined them all. And by the end of writing the book, the conclusion that I came to was the one thing that linked all of these issues is the idea that we're just more tolerant of harm that happens to men and boys. We have less care or concern or compassion for men's vulnerabilities. You know, men and women, we're human, we have the same emotions and emotional chemicals and all the rest of it, and yet we don't have the same concern for men's vulnerability. And actually, you know, and the area that I'm concerned with now is suicide, and it's like, if we had compassion for and concern for men's vulnerabilities, how much easier would it be to reach in and get hold of and help those guys before they actually got to the point where they went, the only solution to my problems is to end my life, you know. So, yeah, a real mix of things. Yeah. Disgracefully. They say you should age gracefully. I think you should age disgracefully. However he wants to, actually. However he wants to. Yeah. I am a leader to some extent, and I did just put up my hand to do that. No one gave me the job, right? And I do a lot of training of people in lots of different fields, and I have run training programs on leadership. And to me, leader is not a title. It's a state of mind, and you know, when I do leadership training, I say to people, anyone can lead from anywhere within an organisation or a community. For me, I want to create a world where every man and boy is one conversation away from whatever help and support they need. It's not okay with me that isn't the current situation. So I'm doing what I can to change that. So that's my leadership. So leadership can come from anywhere in a community, anywhere in an organisation. I want to live in a world full of leaders, not people who are telling other people what to do. You know, that's not leading. You know, that's directing. Sometimes we need directors, but that's different from being a leader. And I think the world needs more leaders. And I think every human being has the ability to be a leader. One of the best little stories I heard about leadership was someone saying, when a baby cries to be fed, and then the mother or the father picks up the baby and feeds the baby, who's leading there? We all have the ability to lead and influence others from a really early age. We start doing it as a baby. We start influencing others. So to become conscious of how we can influence others and taking that on is leadership for me. We can all do it.
Okay, well, I don't even need to ask the next question. What's the secret to being a good leader?
I think leading by example. That's it. To be honest with you can't expect, it's back to Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. I have met all over the world individuals who are just quietly making a difference for men and boys on their turf. So there's a lot of people who talk a good talk. There's a lot of people with great theories, written great books, and all those things are really important. because they help spread the message and get us thinking and make us aware of what's happening out there. But the people I admire most are the individuals who actually work at grassroots level caring for men. That's it, okay. So it goes like this. It's with my daughter, okay? It's a knock-knock joke. I say, knock-knock. She says, who's there? I say, you done up. And she says, you done up what? And I says, you done a poo, right? So she's like, oh, that's out of order, Dad. Let me try. So she says, knock, Daddy. And I say, who's there, Josie? And she says, you done up. And I said, you done up what, Josie? She said, I done a poo. And I said, ha, I got you again. And then she says, okay, now I'll get it right this time, third time, I'm going to get it this time, and I'll get you this time, Dad. So she says, knock, Dad. And I says, who's up, Josie? She says, I done up. And I says, you done up what, Josie? She says, I done a poo. And I say, got you 3 times. Dad jokes. Yeah, it makes me laugh every time. I like to tell her about that, even though she's 18 now. She doesn't like me telling her. What am I avoiding? Growing up,